Hello, I'm Dr. Cheryl Wade. Welcome to Live at Lalita, a program dedicated to holistic living. I passionately believe that a healthy life is possible for each of us if we pay attention to the choices that we make, in what we eat, how we move our bodies, and what we habitually think and feel. I have treated many patients over the past 15 years in my practice as a general surgeon for life-threatening illnesses that were the result of purely preventable conditions. Because of my experiences, I founded the Calamus Center for Health and Holistic Living to demonstrate the choices that we must make if we choose to experience healthy and happy lives. Today we're looking at stress, a condition that affects all of us. Our jobs, the economy, and hurricanes can all create stressful situations. As you know, we are just recovering from a very stressful period with Hurricane Omar. I had to change plans that I'd carefully arranged months before about this show. I started to get really bent out of shape until I remembered to tell myself that there must be a really good reason why I needed to change. Now I'm convinced that everything worked out so much better. So we all have stressful periods. It could be as simple as what to wear for a job interview, or as shattering as how am I going to make the mortgage payment. But one thing is for sure, that we all experience stress. So we're going to look at this condition that can really take us over. And then we will go on location to the Lalita Juice Bar to demonstrate a quick and healthy food choice, a raw creamy carrot soup with ginger and lime. We will end the show by sharing techniques with you to neutralize the negative effects of stress. Our guest today is Dr. Karana Kafalos. Welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Wade, for inviting me to join you today.
My pleasure. Dr. Kafalos is a board-certified physician, and she practiced for over 25 years in New Haven as an assistant professor at Yale University School of Medicine. Dr. Kafalos, would you tell us about your practice here on St. Croix?
Yes, my office, Virgin Island Wellness, is at Five Corners. I'm trained in conventional medicine and internal medicine. Many years ago, I became more and more interested in holistic and integrative medicine because I realized that my conventional medical training gives me a good foundation, but I realized there was more that I could offer patients to help them heal. I trained at the Harvard Mind-Body Medical Institute, and now I devote my time collaborating with people to empower them towards improved physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. And we do this through not only conventional diagnostic and treatment methods, but we also use stress reduction, mind-body awareness, energy medicine, and other holistic techniques that they can put into their life.
Good. Well, tell me, do you see the effects of stress in your patients? Do they come to you and say, Dr. Kafalos, I'm really stressed out? Or is it something that you have to tell them, listen, I think that your condition really is based on stress? How does that come about?
Well, I see a lot of stress in my office, and it's both ways. Some people come in very stressed and know it, and others don't, and we sort of eventually get around to that after we've talked. The stress is epidemic. The Department of Health and Human Services estimates that 60 to 90% of all visits to the doctor are stress-related, and I certainly see that in my practice. And also, the same department estimates that at least 50% of death is lifestyle mediated and can be prevented. And that's 44% of cancer deaths, and up to 75% of cardiovascular deaths are preventable.
Well, that's really interesting, just to think on the really pervasive effects of stress in our lives. I know as a mother, I really feel for teenage girls when I look at TV and I see, oh my God, my daughter is really so concerned about what she's going to wear. Is she with the right crowd? Are they going to the right places? I mean, there's a lot of stress just on teenagers. On the adults, this data, though, is really very exciting because it shows that if we make small adjustments in our lifestyle, we can have a huge impact on improving our health. So what exactly is the definition of stress, the medical definition of stress?
Stress is the perception of a physical or psychological threat and the perception that you cannot cope with that threat. Most people are aware of the stress response as the fight or flight response. And this is a wonderful survival mechanism. And it really came about related to physical threat, like a tiger is about to attack. The thing is, and actually in that case, the stress response is initiated in the body in less than 1/15,000th of a second. The thing is, in modern society, the stress response usually comes about as a result of a perceived psychological threat. And meaning somebody says something, somebody else gets triggered. It could have been a really innocent comment, but something in the other person was triggered and you've got a stress response going.
You're so right. And to point out that concept about perception, because, again, as you said, it's rare today that each of us will encounter many situations where we have to actually run or fight for our lives. But some of us on a daily basis almost feel threatened by what other people say to us. We feel that they're threatening our values, they're threatening our opinions, and we take it so personally. And in fact, it is just a perception. It may not have anything to do with the reality, but the point is, as you've brought out, is that the body reacts as though it were real with the exact same physiologic response.
Right, right. And what happens in the stress response is there's a release of the so-called stress hormones, which are cortisol, adrenaline, epinephrine. And what does that do? Well, you begin to mobilize your energy, because remember, this is fight or flight. Your body starts to get the blood away from your gut, from your GI tract, because it wants the blood to be in the muscles. You don't need to digest your food, you need to run for your life.
Right.
And up to 80% of the blood is going to drain out of your brain, again, to go to your muscles. And that's why a lot of people, when they're stressed, look very off color or very pale.
Right. Well, it's because we're not thinking, right? We're not saying, oh, well, it's okay. I'm not going to die today over this. We don't think. Our bodies just take over, and it just goes along that preset pattern that it's in the genetic makeup of all of us as human beings.
Right. There isn't any time to think. The other thing that happens is your immune system gets revved up, and it starts doing what it needs to do to save you. Your brain goes into a mode where it's going to promote memories of this stressful event so you can avoid getting into that again. These are all very useful in the short run. The other thing that happens, though, is your blood sugar goes up, your blood pressure goes up, your heart rate goes up, and so your heart is strained. It's working harder.
Exactly.
Against a higher pressure, it's working faster, and your cholesterol goes up.
Right, right. So, in effect, for those of us that experience stress on a daily basis, we're really setting ourselves up to gaining weight, becoming obese, developing diabetes, high blood pressure, even getting a stroke. And we know how devastating that can be on one's life, and the entire family can get completely thrown out of balance by something like that.